Iceland is an isolated country established on a volcanic island, and it's 190 miles or 300 kilometers away from its closest neighbor, Greenland. A direct flight from New York to here takes about 5.5 hours. Its total population is 375,000, and almost no one lives in the countryside. 99% of the population live in urban areas. Also, 18% of the inhabitants in Iceland were immigrants in 2023. Their rate increased up until that year. In this country, the word cold takes on a different meaning. Diseases, famine, and volcanic eruptions have been ravaging this island for centuries. On the other hand, Iceland has the most peaceful society in the world each year, according to the Global Peace Index made since 2008. So, how did Icelanders manage to become the most peaceful people in the world, despite these adverse conditions? Let's take an imaginary trip there, the northernmost of the northern hemisphere. The surface area of Iceland is 103,000 square kilometers. There are almost no forests in this country. Only 2% of its land is forest, while 12% is covered by glaciers. The country is located in an active volcanic zone and has experienced 5 major volcanic eruptions in the last 10 years. The lowest temperature ever measured here is -39 Celsius or -38 Fahrenheit. The average temperature of Iceland is 2 degrees Celsius or 36 degrees Fahrenheit in winter and 14 degrees Celsius or 57 degrees Fahrenheit in summer. There is a dark atmosphere in the country in winter. In its northern regions, the sun rises at noon and begins to set again towards 2:30 p.m. when the sky is not yet fully enlightened. In summer, on the contrary, there is a bright atmosphere and pitch darkness never occurs. The sun never fully sets between May and August, and it rises again when the sky is not yet fully darkened. While the sun sets for only 3 hours in the south of the country, it sometimes never sets in the north. In June, in the north, the sun approaches the horizon for 28 days but never sets. One of the world's largest and Europe's second largest glacier is located here. Vegetation is very poor in Iceland, and the areas without glaciers are usually covered with shrubs and thorn bushes. That's why wild animals cannot live here. The only local mammal species here is the ice fox. Other mammals, especially sheep, were brought to the country centuries ago by Vikings. Since the sea freezes during winters, animals such as wild rabbits, mice, bison, and polar bears came from the Greenland region centuries ago and continued to breed here. Horses in Iceland are considered as a different horse breed due to their color and shortness, and it is forbidden to bring horses from outside to protect this breed. Also, a horse taken out of the country is generally not allowed to return, considering the possibility of carrying a disease. There aren't any mosquitoes here, and there are only a few insect species known to survive in these lands. Well, what would it be like to live in Iceland? One of the country's biggest problems is the cold weather conditions. Even an hour of snowfall a night can prevent people from going to work the next morning. It doesn't snow for only 2 or 3 months in Iceland, and when there is a snowstorm, people may be stuck at home for a week. That's why Icelanders stock food in their homes during winter. There are heaters under streets and sidewalks. These road heaters provide convenience for both vehicles and pedestrians. The energy used for this heating is volcanic, which reduces the cost of energy. The country obtains nearly all of its energy from renewable sources. This is the biggest reason why Iceland has one of the cleanest air in the world. The type of energy used is geothermal and is supplied from underground magma. The average life expectancy in the country is 83 years, which is 10 years above the world average. Iceland had only one war affair in its entire history, and even it wasn't a real war. There was a conflict between Iceland and the UK about fishing rights in the North Atlantic. The dispute ended with the Icelandic victory. Police officers here don't carry guns. Even the Icelandic police have killed only one person in its entire history, and it was a counterattack. The country has the lowest crime rate in the world. The number of people in prison here is only 140 at the moment, and as a result of the rapid immigration in recent years, 1 out of every 4 people in prison is a foreigner. There are only 5 prisons in Iceland. These are small buildings, and none of them are high security except one, nor are they surrounded by high walls. Also, prisoners are able to enjoy the view outside. Also, 2 of them are open prisons. Inmates here can lock their own cells and hang around in the prison, attend workshops, gain new skills, receive distance education, work full-time outside, and return to the prison in the evening, and even take a few days off and spend time with their family at home. The purpose of this practice is not to punish, but to rehabilitate the criminals and reintegrate them into society. Prisoners who may threaten public safety are not placed in open prisons. The country is so safe that there are no security guards in the parliament building or even the prime minister's residence. Icelanders have the liberty to express themselves without worrying about societal criticism. John Gnar, who was mayor of the country's capital from 2010 to 2014, was a comedian and actor before becoming the mayor. In his first year as mayor, Gnar gave a speech dressed as a drag queen at the Pride Parade. He also wore a Star Wars costume and a Santa Claus hat to celebrate Christmas once. Iceland is the first country in the world to have a homosexual prime minister. Also, same-sex marriages have been legal in the country since 2010. Unlike in other countries, Icelandic citizens do not have family names. Surnames of newborn babies are derived by adding a suffix to mostly their father's name according to their gender. If a baby was female, her name would be her parents' name plus daughter. If a baby was male, his name would be his parents' name plus son. Also, women's surnames do not change when they get married. Since individuals don't have surnames revealing their lineage, consanguineous marriages are likely to occur. Icelandiga app is an application often used by Icelanders that shows whether 2 people are related by looking at their family tree. The island on which the country is located was discovered by the Norwegians, and since the first people to settle here were Vikings coming from Norway, the Icelandic people are originally Vikings. The world's first democratic parliament was established here in 930 by Vikings. The country was under the rule of Norway and Denmark until the beginning of the 20th century. Iceland gained its autonomy in 1904 and declared its full independence in 1944. Iceland is the second most expensive country in Europe after Switzerland. It's also the 5th country in Europe with the highest per capita income after Luxembourg. The country is well above European standards with an average income of $5,800 per month, but the cost of living here almost neutralizes this advantage. Since it is an island country, fish and seafood are the basis of the national economy. Only 1.2% of its land is arable. Due to soil infertility, vegetables, fruits, and grains either have to be imported or are grown in costly greenhouses. The country is also poor in terms of underground resources. Only aluminum is extracted. According to the famous chef, gourmet, and author Anthony Bourdain, it's almost impossible for anyone except the locals to enjoy Icelandic cuisine. Rotten shark meat is one of the dishes of Iceland. However, foreigners have a hard time tasting this dish. Sheep head, dried fish meat, head cheese made in sheep skulls, and sheep testicles are also in Icelandic cuisine. Iceland is one of 3 countries that hunt whales for commercial purposes. However, the government has announced that they will end commercial whaling by 2024 since the whales are endangered. The sale of beer was banned for 74 years as a result of a referendum. Although this ban was lifted in 1989, it is still technically illegal to consume alcohol in public places. It can only be purchased in specific government-run liquor stores and online by entering identity information. The legal age to drink is 20. Since alcohol is so expensive outside, people often consume it at home and go out after midnight to have fun. Nightclubs are only open on Friday and Saturday nights, mostly until 4 a.m. at the latest. There are no McDonald's, Burger King, or Starbucks in Iceland. During the economic crisis in 2009, the last McDonald's was closed due to the fact that local hamburger restaurants were preferred more. It was too costly for global chains to export here. It still is, indeed, but there are several Subway, KFC, and Domino's restaurants. The bank collapse in Iceland during the 2008 crisis was the largest collapse experienced by any country in economic history. On the other hand, Iceland recovered its economy faster than any other country after the 2008 crisis and started growing again in just 3 years. According to 2017 data, Iceland had the highest employment rate in Europe. The unemployment rate was 2.9%, but this changed with the rapid immigration in recent years. Nevertheless, Iceland remains one of the 5 European countries with the lowest unemployment rate. Iceland is among the countries with the lowest working hours in the world, with 35 hours hours of work per week. 1 in 4 people work in a creative field here. The state gives the opportunity to study for free and with high standards until university. School attendance is obligatory between the ages of 6 and 16. Students usually attend their local school, and only parents of students whose schools are far away are allowed to transport them. The country has the highest rate of book writing in the world. The rate is so high that 1 in 10 Icelanders is a published writer. Surprisingly, the most popular genre is crime. The capital, Reykjavik, is the first non-native English-speaking city to be included in the UNESCO Cities of Literature. In addition to the Icelandic language, English, Danish, German languages, and Nord dialects are also spoken in the country. Icelandic has remained unchanged for almost 1,000 years. This means that the citizens can read historical texts dating back a millennium without having difficulty. Thus, the culture has been preserved. Icelandic people make good use of the opportunities of being located in an active volcanic zone. In geothermal hot springs all over the country, people seek both comfort and healing. The most famous of these hot springs is the Blue Lagoon. People may nakedly enter the world-famous volcanic hot springs here. Iceland is also known as the geyser center of the world. These geysers can squirt hot water up to 120 degrees Celsius or 248 degrees Fahrenheit and about 70 meters or 230 feet into the air. Besides, there are countless hot springs all over the country that are unknown and unexplored by most citizens. The country has 10,000 waterfalls. Dettifoss waterfall is the largest and most violent of all waterfalls in Europe. It's 45 meters high and has a water flow of 500 cubic meters per second. Besides geysers and hot springs, Iceland has countless natural beauties to see. Malafell is a green mountain in the middle of a dark desert, and the country's red and black sand beaches would make you feel like you're in a dream. They may be mesmerized by the shades of blue that they have never seen before in the numerous ice caves around the region. Here, the northern lights seem most common between September and March. Since the summer season is over, hotel prices are becoming more affordable starting from September. The number of tourists coming to Iceland quadrupled between 2011 and 2019 after Game of Thrones was filmed here. The tour called Ring Road takes 7 to 10 days all around the country and can provide a summary of the beauties of Iceland. On the Ring Road tour, travelers can see and learn a lot about Iceland's architecture and history, besides its natural beauties, through visiting places such as an old Viking village, the Sea Monster Museum, the turf houses with grass on their roofs built almost all over the country, and the strange but interesting Phallological Museum. It is possible to learn about the culture of this beautiful country. I will be uploading more videos about countries, so don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel. Sumeyra Cenet was here. See you in the next one. Bye.